Well, hello there, friends. We are back. Say hello, Annie.
Hey, good morning or afternoon. I don't know what day it is or what time it is, but we're here.
We are here. And after another little break last week, I was planning on having the live stream, and I went on a motorcycle trip and had a little bit of an accident. So I was still in recovery mode last Tuesday. So if you were expecting us to be on and we were not, I apologize. It's one of the things about doing live video is that if you don't show up, like nothing happens. And it was a pretty rough day, friends. So I'm glad that I'm feeling better. I am back. It is Monday. I am pumped up for this week. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Andy Green with Green Group Real Estate at Keller Williams Realty Professionals, the #1 brokerage in the Metro Portland market. And I am joined, as always, by Annie Ransom with All Pacific Mortgage, one of the best in the biz. And this week, all we're going to do is we are going to have a conversation around what we're seeing, what's happening in the local real estate market and the mortgage market, and just maybe anything else that we want to talk about today. Does that sound good, Annie?
That sounds awesome. Hey,
Okay.
I am glad that you're okay and
Thank
still
you.
kicking.
I am.
Yeah, hopefully the ride before the fall was beautiful.
It was. We were out near St. Helens, and we were going up this windy road, and just the overall scenery was absolutely beautiful. So it was turning out to be a great ride, and unfortunately got hampered a little bit and had a three and a half hour ride home after a little bit of a crash. So that's
Your bike?
Never that much fun.
How's your bike doing?
Funny, I actually was borrowing that bike. I'm looking at buying a dual sport, and to be able to ride on pavement and also off road. And so it's been submitted to insurance. It's not that bad, honestly. So it could have been a lot worse, but a 400-pound bike on top of you and you hitting the concrete very hard is never advisable. It's not fun.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it could always be worse, right?
Absolutely. I'm here and I'm smiling and I'm happy. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great week. So let's dive into it. Sound good?
I love it. Yep.
Okay, let's start with the mortgage market, Annie. So you take it away. And what are you seeing right now? I was reading an article this morning that said over the past week, rates averaged about 2.9%. So that's under 3%. That's what I saw. What are you seeing?
That's right. So the last time we all came together, it's been 2 weeks. And I had mentioned that Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae came out with new loan level pricing adjustments on refinances. Well, the mortgage industry, they didn't agree with that decision. It was a surprise decision. And now Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae have said, okay, well, we will postpone this loan level price adjustment until December of this year. So what that means is that instantly, overnight, became more expensive to get refinances. And now we're back as if it was business as usual when rates dropped back in March. So
it never happened.
Well, yeah, as if it never happened. It's going to happen.
No, it never happened.
It never happened. That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's still some uncertainty on how individual banks will view this and how they will protect themselves within their pricing. But it's a moving target right now. Everybody's trying to gauge what's going to happen this fall with the pandemic. Different businesses that just have not had the ability to survive through this. We're starting to see that if you're somebody who is venturing out, your favorite restaurant that's been there forever, you may not see it anymore. And so, I mean, we're really just kind of starting to see the ramifications for these businesses, and just as the economy kind of settles into where it's at. So interest rates are still fantastic. They're still below 3% for well-qualified clients. Folks have lots of great equity in their property. So the real estate market and the mortgage market alone are sitting in a pretty good position as we continue to move through this crazy pandemic. Along with everything else that's going on, we have a presidential election that we are just in the throes of. So the next 2 months, I think we're going to see a lot of teeter-totter in the markets. We're going to hear a lot from the presidential candidates. and what they propose to do about this pandemic and about just the economy of our nation and so on. And so, it's just a really, really interesting time just for our lifetime, but it's a very interesting time to have a pandemic, all of these, social injustices going on, a presidential election. And what we know in the mortgage industry is that when there is uncertainty, the markets are very emotional with that uncertainty. So it's really important to be as proactive as you can. There is no possible way to predict what's going to happen with interest rates. They could go up, they could go down. So what we tell people is that with that uncertainty, if you wait, you're putting yourself in a much more vulnerable position than if you secure what makes sense and move forward. Same thing with purchasing, which I'm sure Andy's going to talk about. There is so much uncertainty waiting until property values drop. You may not see property values drop. We may see, as we talked about when we first started doing this a couple of months ago, that in the majority of recessions, the real estate market appreciates. So if you're somebody who's sitting there waiting for it to depreciate, and in addition, in Portland, we have such low inventory, the chances of that happening, we just aren't seeing properties sit on the market. It is a seller's market. It's a phenomenal time to sell.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So maybe I'm giving you a great segue. Take it away from there.
Well, a couple things that you said that just came to my mind as you were talking is just a second ago, you talked about buyers versus sellers and sellers waiting for prices to continue to appreciate and buyers waiting for prices to go down. I actually faced that this past week with two different clients in the same day. It was kind of ironic that the seller said he's going to hold off on listing his property as he thinks that prices are going to continue to increase. And a buyer in the same day said that he's going to hold off and wait till prices come down. It's like buyers and sellers are in these two different camps. And I'm seeing this on a somewhat regular basis, is that maybe they're paying a little bit too much attention to the national media instead of like really diving into and figuring out what's happening on the local level, which the main thing above and beyond everything in today's market in Portland, Oregon, and the whole metro market is inventory. Is the combination of inventory at 1.2 month supply, which is down from last month at 1.5, and is also a 30-month low. So maybe I know that they've been tracking this for longer than 30 months. So I have to believe that it might be an all-time low since they've been tracking it. But what I saw is it's a 30-month low in inventory. So there are very, very few homes on the market right now.
Yeah.
And understandably, like we are in the midst of a pandemic, and being in close contact with people, although there are ways to do it safely, like some people just don't want to mess with it, and like more power to them. I think that's fair. It's great. And you have to do what is best for you. And for the people in the camp of like, I need to sell, or like, we really want to sell, and understand that inventory is so low that sellers are in a very strong position to make a move. That like those people are taking advantage of the market and seeing a lot of multiple offers in certain areas and fewer in others. But you said interesting, and I think of crazy. It is crazy right now.
It is.
We are living through crazy times.
Yes. There's a lot going on right now, right? A pandemic alone, that would be a lot.
Yep.
You got a pandemic, a presidential election. I mean, there's just so much that's going along with all of that. These civil injustices. It's just, it's crazy. Yeah. And what's crazy to me is when people call and they say, "Oh, I think interest rates are going to go down." It's like, man, we quoted a 2.75% interest rate. Like, maybe let's not be greedy. Take advantage of it, because interest rates in the history of time have never been this low before. Yeah. Which is also really interesting to be in one of the one of the only industries, I mean, there's a handful of industries that are thriving through all of this because we have low inventory, because, there's a lot of demand out there and such little supply. But then to couple that with these incredibly low interest rates, I mean, we're never going to see this
Never again. I believe, I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago, I called it the perfect storm, because you have the perfect storm of super ridiculously low inventory and super ridiculously low interest rates. And that means there are not a lot of homes on the market, and there are a lot of buyers,
right?
Because it is such a good time. And I think that they're really seeing it. So as far as like the number of leads and opportunities and people just reaching out to us, asking us questions, like we are slammed right now. We are really, really busy. And I am starting to see, I think over the next 2 weeks, our listing inventory is actually going to be increasing pretty dramatically from where it's been over the past probably 3 to 4 months. So you never know. Maybe that's a sign of what other agents are going to be seeing as well. But we have a slew of new listings that are going to be hitting the market soon. So stay tuned. There aren't a lot of homes on the market, and I'm going to have some homes for sale. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
today is month end. So, and in a absolute record month in the mortgage industry. So when you say slammed, it's true. And September is slated to be even bigger. So I think we're really finishing out the third quarter of this year with some really, really strong numbers. And we'll see what the fall has to offer. But if what you are experiencing is similar to other agents out there, then, we're going to carry ourselves into 2021 just fine. And eventually we'll get these buyers into properties. It's just going to take a little bit more time, but it's better to do it now while things are appreciating, right? You don't want to buy a home and immediately have it depreciate. So while you can get a good deal as a buyer, buying in a buyer's market is, you're buying a depreciating asset. So I don't think we're going to see depreciation in our market for some time. We'll see some leveling out. Wouldn't you agree at some point?
100%. I think that through the rest of this year, this is so fresh and so new, and it is the perfect storm that we're going to finish this year really strong.
Yeah.
I don't, unless something happens with the pandemic where it just shuts everybody down again, and there's nothing we can. Well, there may be nothing that we can do about that. I do expect a very strong end of this year, and also Q1 of next year, and then who knows? We'll see. A lot of things have to come into play to keep this train moving forward. And, I clearly don't have control over all that stuff. So, I'm expecting a good, strong finish to this year.
Awesome.
One thing that you mentioned though, and I think this has kind of been a theme of what we're talking about, is we talk about a perfect storm and interest rates super low and inventory low, a lot of buyers in the market, and home selling with multiple offers. There are still cases, though, where we're negotiating offers where there are not multiple offers, that a home has been on the market. I'm speaking about a very specific instance right now, but a home was on the market for about 30 days. We negotiated that offer from about $440,000 to $425,000, so got it pending under asking price, and then concessions to paint the home. Do some trim work on the exterior, credit for replacing carpet, all of these things. And this is one transaction. And so it is happening. It's not happening, super consistently, but there are still deals in the market. So if you're sitting here listening to us going, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, and like, I'm not going to be able to find the house that I really want, there are deals in today's market. You just have to be patient. And you have to dig. You have to dig a little bit and just keep digging and keep looking and keep viewing these properties, and you can get a really good deal in today's market. So those opportunities are out there, friends. What's that, Annie?
Got to have a dynamite team too, right? You can dig into this market, you can be patient, but without your dynamite team, it's going to be tough when there's other competition in the door. So make sure you've got your great resource in your corner.
Absolutely. Setting yourself up for success, especially in a multiple offer situation, like who you're working with, what broker you're working with, and their level of experience in dealing with that, it can make or break your deal. So you're potentially either going to get the house or you're not. So I think, Annie, you are exactly right. You hit the nail on the head. Who you work with matters. So let's start to wrap this up now. I want to ask you one question before we move forward with our week. And that is, when you're meeting with new buyers and you're having conversations with them to position them to be in the strongest position to win in a multiple offer situation, or to just go out and find a house, like what advice are you giving those buyers right now to give them a head start and a leg up in today's market?
I mean, something that we do, the pre-approval is a really important tool. And I think a lot of lenders miss the mark where that pre-approval is concerned. So doing the work ahead of time, knowing that there's a viable loan in place so that if you do set out to make an offer, and it's not just the pre-approval, right? Anybody can walk into a bank or get a pre-approval online. And a lot of lenders will say, you're pre-approved for a $600,000 home. More often than not, people are pre-approved for more than they feel comfortable spending. So it's really important to know that you have a solid pre-approval. Working with a local lender is very important in today's marketplace. Super, super important, because there's more control, there's more relationships, rather than working with, a bank somewhere that has central processing in a different state, and whatnot. But really ensuring that you qualify, that you've submitted the appropriate documentation, it's been reviewed, and you know the information about the property prior to even walking in the door, because things move very quickly right now. So unfortunately, we are not in a position to where you can walk in and think about it. You have to know these are my parameters. And if you walk in and you love something, you're in a position, you know what your monthly payments are going to be, you know what your closing costs are going to be, you know what the property taxes are going to be, and you can formulate an immediate response with your real estate agent from the beginning and know that you have a loan in place, assuming nothing happens with inspections and appraisals and things outside of everybody's control. I think it's the number one thing. We have buyers right now that are out, kind of dipping their feet in the water, and getting their feet wet, and they find that house, and immediately we're working on a pre-approval because they want to write an offer on that home, and it goes pending within that same day. Yeah. So it is really important, if you're just even dabbling, there's no harm in getting a pre-approval at all. And our pre-approvals don't expire. So I know a lot of lenders have a similar philosophy, but I think it just helps with being as prepared with the amount of inventory we have, which is not a whole lot.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, my friend. Thank you for that information. I think that it's super helpful for consumers out there who are considering not dipping their toes in the water, but even dipping your toe in the water, that's fine too. Reach out to us. But thinking about making a move, it can be a little daunting right now. And I understand why there's some fear and trepidation in consumers' minds. And just know that we're helping people accomplish their goals through real estate and through financing every single day of the year. And, we're here to help you more than anything. So if we can be of assistance to you, we will leave all of our contact information down below, whichever platform you may be watching this on. And I hope that you all have a fabulous week. And that includes you, Annie.
Thank you. You too, Andy. Happy recovering.
Thank you. I'm feeling good. The rib's going to take a little bit of time. Not much to do about that one. But my scabbing will heal soon. So yeah. Enough said. Have a great week, all. Bye.
See you next week.